Good morning. Last week someone wrote in and said that I'd misled you, so there's a small correction to be made. But before I get to that, the point I was trying to make clear last week is that doctrine is important, but there's something that's far more important, and that's how we behave. In the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapters 5 to 7, Jesus didn't deal with doctrine at all. He dealt with what's in our hearts. Hatred, greed, selfishness, lust. These are the things that cause the problems. Instead, he said we were to be meek, to hunger for thirst for righteousness, to be merciful, to be pure in heart, and to be peacemakers. This will go a long way to solve the world's problems. We do need to understand why Jesus had to die for us and understand the enormous suffering he went through on our behalf. Our appreciation for that will help us to live the sort of lives Jesus wanted us to live. For example, the scribes and Pharisees got their doctrine absolutely correct. They knew the law of Moses inside out, but Jesus said to them, Matthew chapter 23 and verse 23, "Woe to the scribes and Pharisees, because you tithe the mint, the dill, and the cumin, but you have neglected the weightier matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness." They thought so much of themselves, they were so proud, that they failed to understand the prophecies which indicated Jesus would come in a humble way. They missed that completely. So he called them blind guides. They got their doctrine right, but they got their behavior very wrong. Now, the rest of this video is a little bit depressing, so you can turn off now if you want. I'm going to put up some screenshots of an old Elders book with notations in it. The Elders book is the tip of the iceberg. Elders go to secret meetings and they put extra rules in the margins of their books. So the pressure that's put on people is from elders and from things that are not made evident in the publications available to ordinary Jehovah's Witnesses. I have no problem with ordinary Jehovah's Witnesses. I have a lot of problems with the leadership because they are following the path of the scribes and Pharisees, making rules and regulations that Jesus did not make. They're building up weighty and heavy loads for people to carry. So, elders are given secret instructions at secret elders meetings. You might be invited to a judicial hearing without being told exactly what you're guilty of. You are already guilty. You can't defend yourself. You might appeal. You will face 7 or 8 men on your own. And what happens before that appeal committee is written on the last of these screenshots. You don't know that. You might remember the story of the sons of Eli in 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 12. Now the sons of Eli were scoundrels, lovely word. They cared nothing for Yahweh, nor for the rights of the priests as regards the people. Whenever a man offered a sacrifice, the priest's servants would come with a 3-pronged fork in his hand while the meat was being cooked. He would thrust this into the cauldron, and the priest claimed for his own whatever the fork brought up. And they did other awful things. Now, Eli did remonstrate with them, but he didn't stop them. Consequently, in chapter 3, the Lord spoke to Samuel and said that he was to tell Eli this: "I have spoken about his house, and I condemn his house forever, because he has known that his sons have cursed God, yet he has not corrected them." Very few of Jehovah's Witnesses know what the elders are up to in their secret meetings. But I know some of what's going on. I need to explain what's happening so that people can be warned, but also to try to help elders not to follow men, but to follow God's commandments of faithfulness, mercy, and justice. Now, I'll put some links below where you can see how people have been harmed by Watchtower's pharisaical policies. They're not all in the elders' book, but they are given secretly to elders on the side. There are a couple of little stories I might tell you as well, but I'll put them in the comments because they're not very encouraging. What we want to remember are the things that Jesus asked us to do: to love our fellow man, to be kind, to show mercy and faithfulness. God bless us all and help us to do that. Thanks.